Hey everyone, welcome. In this explainer, we're going to unpack a massive mechanism that quietly powers our entire nation's economy. We hear about it on the news all the time, we see those green and red tickers flashing constantly, but today, we're making it concrete. We're demystifying India's financial markets. We are literally turning all those abstract numbers into a tangible toolkit that you can actually understand. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this with a pretty relatable question. Have you ever wondered how massive corporations actually fund their massive expansions? Think about it. When a company wants to build a huge new factory, launch a complex tech platform, or hire thousands of people, they rarely just have all that cash sitting around in a vault somewhere. They need external capital. But where exactly do they go to get it? Well, that very question is the exact reason our financial system exists in the first place.
And the answer lies right here in the financial market. Think of it as a giant, incredibly efficient bridge. On one side, you've got people or institutions with surplus savings, investors looking to grow their wealth. On the other side, you have borrowers, companies and governments that desperately need that capital to grow and operate. The financial market is basically the central hub that connects them, allowing them to trade instruments like equities, bonds, and currencies. It takes idle money and puts it to work.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole concept, completely stripping away all that Wall Street intimidation. Think of your local vegetable market, a sabzi mandi. You go there to buy tomatoes and potatoes, right? And sellers go there to offer them. Well, a financial market is the exact same thing. The only real difference is that instead of trading vegetables, you're trading financial securities. It's really just a highly organized space for buyers and sellers to meet up and agree on a price. Nothing more, nothing less.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, what is a financial market? Second, money versus capital markets. Third, how stock markets work. Fourth, India's historical stock exchanges. And finally, research and financial policies.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, what exactly is a financial market, and what are its core functions?
A financial market has four sequential, absolutely crucial functions. First up, it mobilizes savings. It takes money out from under our mattresses and channels it into productive businesses. Second, it determines prices, and it does this purely through the natural forces of demand and supply. Third, it provides liquidity. This is huge. It means if you buy a stock today, you can easily turn it back into cash tomorrow. And fourth, it drastically reduces the time and cost of transactions. Just imagine trying to find a buyer for your company's shares by knocking on doors. No way, right? The market does that for you instantly.
Moving right along to Section 2, money versus capital markets. It's essentially a tale of two timelines.
So, the crucial point is this strict dichotomy, and it really all comes down to time. The money market, that's for the short term, meaning instruments mature in less than a year. It's regulated by the Reserve Bank of India, is generally lower risk, and it uses things like call money and T-bills for companies needing quick working capital. On the flip side, we have the capital market. This is for the long haul, anything over a year. It's regulated by SEBI, carries a higher risk but also the potential for higher reward, and it deals in the shares and bonds that build long-term corporate infrastructure.
Okay, Section 3, how stock markets actually work, focusing on the secondary market ecosystem.
The financial ecosystem offers these really specialized spaces for all sorts of different needs. You've got the over-the-counter or OTC market, which is usually for smaller, less regulated companies. You have the bond market, where investors lend money at fixed interest rates to governments or corporations. Then there's the derivatives market, where value is based on underlying primary assets. And of course, the Forex market, where global currencies are constantly being exchanged. It is a massive, incredibly diverse toolkit.
Now, zooming in on the stock market specifically, you're looking at two main phases. The primary market is where companies issue their shares for the very first time to the public. We all know this as an initial public offering or IPO. But once those shares are out there in the wild, they're traded daily in the secondary market. And today, to participate in this secondary market, you don't need to be out there shouting on a trading floor. You just need a digital DMAT and trading account to buy and sell seamlessly right from your screen.
Let's transition to Section 4, India's historical stock exchanges. We're going from neem trees to digital screens.
Let's move to and see how this builds our modern financial landscape, because this timeline is absolutely fascinating. Back in 1830, financial trading in India was literally happening under a neem tree in Kolkata. Incredible, right? By 1875, the famous Bombay Stock Exchange, which is the oldest in Asia, by the way, was officially founded. This was quickly followed by Ahmedabad in 1894, and then the formal incorporation of Kolkata in 1908. And believe it or not, it wasn't until 1996 that this rich, physical legacy finally transitioned into the modernized, digitized screens we all know today.
Let's look a little closer at the Calcutta Stock Exchange, or CSE. The anecdote here is just brilliant. What started as informal gatherings under that neem tree eventually grew into an incorporated exchange by 1908 with 150 members. For decades, they used what's called an open outcry system. Basically, brokers were physically yelling out buy and sell orders at each other. It's wild to think about, but it wasn't until 1997 that the shouting finally stopped and was replaced by their electronic platform known as C-Star. Equally fascinating is the story of the Ahmedabad Stock Exchange. Established in 1894, it holds this really unique cultural identity. It was symbolized by a swastika, denoting wealth and prosperity. For 93 years, it operated out of a stunning British heritage building. But, to keep up with the times, it eventually had to modernize. They adopted IBM systems and later transitioned to the online ASET system, designed by TCS in 1996.
And that brings us to our final part, Section 5, Research and Financial Policies, or the institutions behind the scenes.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it shows us what's happening behind the curtain. Behind the scenes of all these dynamic markets are vital institutions like the NIFPP, the National Institute of Public Finance and Policy. Founded back in 1976 as an autonomous research institute, places like this are the invisible engines of the financial sector. They do the heavy lifting, conducting the research in public economics and policies that ultimately guide exactly how our financial markets are regulated and structured.
And man, these policy institutes are incredibly resilient. During the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic, the NIPFP premises were actually forced to close for 50 days. But just like the stock exchanges themselves moved from open outcry to digital screens, this vital research institute seamlessly shifted its academic and professional commitments online. They ensured that the massive economic policy work of the nation didn't skip a beat, even during a global crisis.
We've covered an incredible journey today in this explainer. From the foundational logic of a simple Sabzi Mundi to the highly sophisticated digital networks regulating capital today. We've literally seen trading evolve from the shade of a neem tree in the 1830s to the high-speed digital screens of the 21st century. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. Given how rapidly things have evolved over the last century, what will the financial market of the future look like? Will it be driven entirely by artificial intelligence? Will it be completely decentralized? The market never sleeps, and it definitely never stops evolving. Thank you so much for joining me, and keep exploring.